Hello, 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 you guys, and welcome back to Famous Fridays. I'm Alex,
I'm Christopher.
and we're so glad to have you guys back with us. If you're new to our podcast, be sure to give us a follow on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Famous Fridays. So we can keep you guys updated and take any questions you guys may have on our upcoming weekly topics. Before we begin, I'd like to give a brief moment to give a special shout out to today's sponsorship, Purdue OWL. The Purdue Online Writing Lab is a great spot for students just like you who need help with any writing. Hop on over for online writing sources or even an opportunity to sign up to talk with an online writing counselor.
With this being said, let's get right into the substance of today's podcast. Today we will be discussing Sor Juana Inés de la Cruz and her selected works. And for today's big event, we will be including some of our guys' poems. If any of you are unaware, last week we asked you guys to DM us with an extension to one of Sor Juana's poems so that we could get a glimpse of some of our viewers' creative side. Alex and I are so excited to share these with you guys, so we will get right on into it directly after this short advertisement.
Have you been looking for an easy way for your poetry to gain attention? Are you tired of posting your poems on social media to only get a few likes? Well, hop on over to Poetry Publicity to get just the audience you want. Poetry Publicity is an app that includes poet enthusiasts just like you. You can even receive feedback from famous poets, so head on over to the App Store right now and download Poetry Publicity.
If you guys don't know much about Sor Juana and who she was as a poet, don't fret one bit because we have an interview with her today to learn a little bit more about who she was and what she stood for during her time. Now, can everyone please give a warm welcome to our special guest, Sor Juana?
Hey, thank you guys for having me.
To start off with a little more about you, why don't you tell us a little about yourself and how you got into writing?
My passion for reading and learning started when my mother and I lived on my grandfather's estate. By the age of 13, I was actually studying Greek logic and fluent in Latin. At this time, I began to write my first poems. After my first experience with writing, my desire to learn exploded, and I kept striving to learn as much as I possibly could and devoted a large portion of my life to learning. At the age of 21, I entered the covenant of the Order of Saint Jerome to further my ability to learn. It was here that I would remain for the rest of my time and write the majority of my writings.
After reading about your story and discovering how you became the internationally recognized writer that you are today, it is very apparent that you dedicated your whole life to the work you have achieved. Was there ever a point where you contemplated settling down?
Actually, no, I never really considered getting married. I loved my work way too much, and unfortunately, my intelligence was way too daunting for most.
So, during the course of your life, there was always a strong male dominance in all aspects of society. My question to you would be, at any point along your journey, did you ever feel like this held you back from further expanding your knowledge?
Ever since I was young, I actually wanted to go to university, but the problem with that was that women weren't allowed into universities. Knowing this from when I was even just a little kid, I decided that I would ask my parents if they would allow me to dress and act as a man in order to sneak my way into university. But my parents ended up refusing to allow me to go through with this plan.
Awesome. Thank you much, Sor Juana, for speaking with us today. I'm so glad we got to hear a little bit more about who she was and what wonderful impact she had and still has even on society today. Now, moving on to the part that you've all been waiting for, the poems.
To start us off, we have an audio submission from Brittany Lowry and her extension to Sonnet 173.
Do you watch and cachinnate as I fabricate ignorance, pulling the strings of my own puppet, all for a chance to make a fictional fantasy come true? Do you feel pity for the shadow you overlook, as though the struggling dimness beside you is nothing but a firm landing for your next stride?
That was amazing.
Agreed. That captured the essence of Sor Juana perfectly.
Next, we have Tristan Kingsman and his addition to Ballad 24.
It is with great pleasure that God brought this child into the world. Let the angels sing in excitement, and let joy seize every moment of your life from this day forward, for your child is born.
Wow, that is really impressive. Unfortunately, that's all the poems we have time for today. Be sure to head on over to Purdue Writing Lab at owl.purdue.edu for any English writing help today.
Also, don't forget to check us out on social media platforms at Famous Fridays to stay updated with the next Friday's topic. Thanks again for watching, and we can't wait to have you back next Friday.
Enjoy the rest of your Friday. Bye.